Welcome to our 2024 Senate election prediction. The stakes couldn't be higher as Republicans look to flip the Senate majority, while Democrats are fighting to hold their ground. This year's map heavily favors the GOP, with Democrats defending 23 of the 34 seats up for election. With critical races in battleground states like Arizona, Ohio, and Montana, control of the Senate is up for grabs. Let's dive into each race, analyze the latest polling data, and see which party has the edge. Let's begin with the safest Democratic states, where we can be more than certain that the Democratic Party will retain control. First up is Washington State, where Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell is running for re-election. Cantwell, a seasoned politician with 4 terms under her belt, has consistently won by large margins. The state's deep blue profile means there's almost no chance of a Republican upset here. Washington hasn't seen a Republican Senate victory since 1994, and with Biden winning by 19 points in 2020, this seat is as safe as it gets. Moving down the Pacific Coast, California's race took a dramatic turn with the passing of Senator Dianne Feinstein. Appointed Senator LaFonza Butler chose not to run for a full term, leaving Congressman Adam Schiff to lead the Democratic charge. Schiff faces off against Republican Steve Garvey, but in a state Biden won by 29 points. Schiff's lead in the polls indicates a comfortable Democratic hold. Over in Hawaii, Senator Mazie Hirono is seeking her 3rd term. In 2018, Hirono secured an overwhelming 71% of the vote, the highest percentage for any candidate that cycle. Given Hawaii's long-standing Democratic loyalty and Hirono's popularity, this seat is firmly in the blue column. New Mexico's Martin Heinrich is also expected to have a smooth path to victory. Heinrich won his last race with 54% of the vote, even in a competitive 3-way battle. Current polling shows him with a solid lead, and with New Mexico's Democratic lean in recent years, this seat remains secure for the Democrats. Senator Amy Klobuchar is once again running in Minnesota, a state where she's developed a reputation as a formidable candidate. Klobuchar has consistently won by wide margins, including a 24-point victory in her last race. While Minnesota can be competitive at the presidential level, Klobuchar's strong favorability ratings make this race a safe bet for the Democrats. In Virginia, Tim Kaine is seeking his 3rd term in the Senate. Kaine, who has served as both governor and vice presidential candidate, has a strong base of support. His re-election bid in 2018 saw him win by a significant margin, and current polls suggest that he maintains a comfortable lead over his Republican opponent, securing this state for the Democrats. New York's incumbent Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is expected to cruise to victory in her re-election campaign. Despite New York trending slightly more conservative in some areas, it remains a reliably blue state with a Biden plus 23 margin in 2020. Gillibrand's opponent faces a tough battle in a state that hasn't elected a Republican senator since 1992. Vermont and Massachusetts are 2 of the bluest states in the nation, with Independent Senator Bernie Sanders and Democrat Elizabeth Warren respectively running for re-election. Both senators have long been popular in their states, and there's little to no chance of a Republican upset in these bastions of liberal politics. Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island and Chris Murphy of Connecticut are both firmly in control of their seats. These incumbents have won their past elections by more than 20 points, and there's no indication that this year will be any different, keeping both seats in the safe Democratic category. In Maine, Independent Senator Angus King, who caucuses with Democrats, is running for re-election. King is one of the most well-regarded senators in the country, with high approval ratings from his constituents. His strong bipartisan appeal ensures that this seat will likely stay aligned with the Democratic caucus. New Jersey's race has gained attention due to the legal troubles surrounding Senator Bob Menendez. Nevertheless, the Democratic nominee, Congressman Andy Kim, has positioned himself as the frontrunner. Given New Jersey's strong Democratic lean and its history of voting blue in statewide races, this seat is expected to remain under Democratic control. In Delaware, Lisa Blunt Rochester is set to replace retiring Senator Tom Carper. As Biden's home state and a historically Democratic stronghold, Delaware presents no serious challenges to Rochester's path to the Senate. Maryland's Senate race has become somewhat interesting with Ben Cardin's retirement and former Governor Larry Hogan's potential candidacy, despite Hogan's popularity as a Republican governor in a deep blue state. The Democratic nominee, Angela Alsobrooks, remains the favorite. Maryland is a state where Biden led by 33 points, making it tough terrain for any Republican candidate. Let's now look at the safe Republican seats, where GOP candidates have a significant edge. In Utah, Republican Congressman John Curtis is set to succeed Mitt Romney, who announced his retirement. Given Utah's solidly conservative voting history and Curtis's strong support within the party, this seat is firmly in Republican hands. Wyoming's John Barrasso and Nebraska's Deb Fischer are both running for re-election in states that are deep red. Although Fischer's race has attracted some attention due to an independent challenger, her seat remains a safe Republican hold, with little chance of a Democratic upset. Senators Kevin Cramer in North Dakota and Josh Hawley in Missouri are both expected to win re-election comfortably. Both states have shown strong Republican tendencies in recent elections, aligning closely with Trump's influence. In Mississippi and Tennessee, incumbent senators Roger Wicker and Marsha Blackburn are not facing significant challenges. Both states have a strong Republican base, ensuring that these seats stay red. Indiana's Jim Banks is poised to replace outgoing Senator Mike Braun, while West Virginia's Jim Justice is likely to flip Joe Manchin's seat to the GOP. Justice, a popular governor, has a significant lead in the polls, making this race one of the easier pickups for Republicans. Now we turn to the competitive states that could go either way, which are crucial to determining the balance of power in the Senate. Arizona's race features Democrat Ruben Gallego up against Republican Kari Lake. Gallego has a polling lead, reflecting Arizona's recent shift toward the Democrats in statewide races. However, this race remains highly competitive and is crucial for both parties. In Nevada, Senator Jackie Rosen is defending her seat against Republican challenger Sam Brown. Polling suggests a slight Democratic advantage, but with Nevada's recent trend toward the GOP, this race could tighten as we approach Election Day. Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin is seeking re-election in one of the most closely contested states in the country. Baldwin's consistent polling advantage makes her the favorite, but the state's history of razor-thin margins means anything is possible. With Debbie Stabenow retiring, Michigan becomes a major battleground. Democratic nominee Alyssa Slotkin has maintained a lead over her Republican opponent, Mike Rogers, but this race is expected to remain tight up to the finish. Bob Casey Jr. in Pennsylvania is aiming to continue his long-standing career in the Senate. He currently leads his challenger, David McCormick, in the polls. Pennsylvania remains a key swing state at the presidential level, but Casey's established presence gives him a distinct advantage. Ted Cruz's re-election campaign in Texas is shaping up to be more competitive than anticipated. Democratic challenger Colin Allred has been gaining ground in the polls, but Cruz's incumbency and the state's Republican lean keep this race leaning red. In Florida, Rick Scott is facing a tougher-than-expected challenge from Democrat Debbie Mucarsel-Powell. Although Scott has a slight edge, the shrinking margins in recent polls suggest that this race could go down to the wire. Ohio's Sherrod Brown is in one of the hardest-fought races for Democrats. Despite a track record of winning in a red-trending state, Brown's margin in the polls is slim, making this race crucial for Democrats' hopes to maintain a majority. Montana's John Tester faces a significant challenge from Republican Tim Sheehy. Given Montana's conservative lean and Tester's narrow previous victories, this seat is a prime target for a Republican flip. As things stand, Republicans are favored to win a narrow majority in the Senate, with a projected 52 seats to the Democrats' 48. However, with multiple races still up in the air and the potential for last-minute shifts, nothing is set in stone. These battleground states will be where control of the Senate is ultimately decided. Thank you for joining us for this detailed breakdown of the 2024 Senate races. Don't forget to subscribe for more election analysis and updates as we approach Election Day. Let us know in the comments which races you're watching most closely, and we'll see you next time.